What is going on, y'all? It is the Cave Fan. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 33 of Against the Blitz. And after the fun we had with the Receiver Summit episode a week or so ago, we're deciding to do the Running Back Summit. The same type of premise. We're going to be ranking everything and anything running back and basically talking about as many names as we could fit in this episode. So it's going to be fun to start some of the discourse that this type of episode kind of drives. It was a successful hit with the receivers, so it should be also, as I would guess, successful hit here. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, running backs are the golden lamb of fantasy football. So to get a little bit of discourse on them early before everyone else does is kind of important to us. So I'm really excited to talk about them. There's some old heads on here. There's some new faces. So we're gonna get ahead on it. But like he said before, we probably have at least 30 something names of running backs to get to. So we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah, so we're gonna start similarly like we did with the receivers. We're gonna start by building our perfect running back with active players, and the categories that we have here include speed, power, contact balance, vision, elusiveness, receiving ability, pass protection, and frame. Mine is kind of out of order. I think yours probably is in better order than that. I think I went.
It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter.
But I'm going to start with frame. And I kind of, like I did last time with the receivers, I kind of overthought this, but not as much. So I would imagine I know who you went with for frame, but I took Barkley.
Okay.
For frame. Purely because I wanted to save Derek for something else. So
I did the same actually, but I took someone like, usually it's not like advantageous to be that big of Derrick Henry, so I took Jonathan Taylor, who to me is the premium build of like perfect height, perfect like thickness, girth, if you will. Saquon's got some girth too, but I don't know. That's a
he probably got the most girth.
He might have the most girth. AJ Dillon might have the most girth.
Yeah, he might. And they're buddies now in the same backfield.
Yeah, I forgot about that actually. But yeah, two good answers. Yeah, save Derrick Henry for a rainy day.
Yeah. Speed, I took Devon Achane.
Fair. I took Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah,
it's like not crazy. Like it's just two 4.2 something speed guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, power. That's where I put Derrick Henry.
I also did. Yeah. that wasn't really much of a thought, really, actually, at all.
I'm interested to see for these other ones, though. Well, first, receiving ability, we'll start with 2. I put McCaffrey for this, even if he's not played much football, but that feels like a shoe-in. These other 3, though, I'm interested to hear where you went. So first, we'll start with contact balance.
I put Saquon for that one.
Okay.
I mean, he has those girthy legs churning. Like, it's hard to bring that guy down, but he had to go somewhere on your list because he's like the most complete back in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I ended up going with Bijan for contact balance.
Yeah,
tough to tackle. I feel like a lot of these don't require much explanation.
No, vision.
I put Kamara for vision and I kind of did vision patience. I would trust that guy to blindly lead me through like an evil forest with my eyes closed. If I just held his hand, it was like the Wizard of Oz forest. I was just getting led through. I would just close my eyes and let him drive me. I would trust him to get me out.
I mean, he doesn't even run. He just like kind of like briskly walks through the line, kind of like Le'Veon Bell. Just like never starts running after that. But that's a good pick. I put Kyron Williams for vision because it's like you look at this like short little bowling ball that's slow, and you're like, how is he good? He doesn't do anything good, but he just like his vision is just so solid.
Yeah, I gotcha. I like that. I'll save my Kyron thoughts later. Elusiveness was the last one. I went with Bucky Irving for this one.
I too, Bucky Irving.
I don't know how many times somebody could flip the entire field and successfully get away with it, but Bucky Irving did it.
It's so
4
annoying.
times at least. So
like his highlight tape looks like Barry Sanders' highlight tape. If you like took out all like the in between, they're the same running back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just not like only if you watch highlights.
And the crazy part is, I'm gonna out myself. I was very much of the belief that he would not be taking Rachaad White's job for the first 3 weeks. I just refused to believe it, and then
I'm such a sucker for like the backup taking the starter's role. I was rooting for Tony Pollard to steal Zeke's spot the last like 2 years of like when he got fat. Like I was like, Tony Pollard's so much better, please. And they finally got a job, and I was so hype about it.
Yeah, now he's like mid.
He put up like 1,000 yards. He's fine.
Yeah, you're right. He's probably better than him.
Titans are just a trash can.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's kind of the thing with running backs, which I'm sure we'll get into later.
Yeah.
It's like we were talking about a pre-show. There are just so many, and there are just so many that do a lot of things well. Some do things better than others, and that's kind of why the running back position is in this dormant state, at least the state that it feels like it's been in, because there really is no ideal back. You just have the ones that you need to do what you need them to do, and that's it. Like, and it doesn't go farther than that.
It's Genty.
So, no, okay. Are you fucking kidding me? And all this Genty shit better not blow up in people's faces. Like,
it honestly was Bijan. Like, Bijan was probably the most complete back that I ever scouted coming out. But even then, like, there were some holes. But him and Genty, like, comfortably, since like Saquon are the two like most complete backs to ever come out.
Yeah. And even still, it's like Bijan is doing his darndest, and they're still in mid-team. Barkley had to get shipped out to be any sort of decent weekend. I mean, This is just the same dead horse conversation. But moving on to the next topic, we ranked the top 10 RB2s in the NFL. So this was something that was fun to do with the receivers, and with the running backs. I don't know. I don't know how many similar names we're gonna have here.
I don't know. Like I rearranged my list because like at first I was like, I based it off just how good they are at being an RB2. And then I kind of thought about it again, and I was like, well, I kind of want to base it off of how good they'd be if they had to be the RB1. So then I just got really confused, and then I just kind of compiled a mix of the two. But I'm curious to see where you started off at.
So in my research, I came away discovering that Zach Charbonnet is far and away the best RB2, I think, in football. Like, I didn't realize how good he was in pass protection, but I came to realize that he is extremely good, and he did it a lot, which I knew. I just didn't know how good he was at it. And he was tremendous in pass protection. So that was really the biggest thing that I learned about him that kind of pushed him over the edge. I already knew he was a very good running back to begin with. He's just as good as anybody at breaking tackles, and he fills in for Ken Walker anytime he's not playing, and it doesn't even look like much is different back there, to be frank. So I thought, with that being said, there really weren't any other RB2s that I thought were as good of pure runners, but also as good as being that third down pass protecting option. So he was my number one. I went bold here, and at number two, for similar reasons, I put Travion Henderson. And who knows how long he'll be an RB2 for, but I really think it won't be too long. But for the time being, he will be the most well-rounded back not starting probably in the league. So next to Charbonnet, I guess. Third, I have Jordan Mason. Fourth, I have Tank Bigsby. Fifth, I went Rico Dowdle. Sixth, I went Jalen Warren. I guess if that doesn't end up being Caleb's backfield, I assume it will be Caleb Johnson's. Seventh, I put Cam Scatterbo. Eighth, I put Najee Harris. Ninth, I put Tajay Spears. And 10th, I put my boy Ty Johnson. I had to put Ty Johnson.
Okay. I thought about Ty Johnson. I feel like we're missing some people here. Unless you just didn't like these guys.
Oh boy.
That's why I missed. So number one, I have my first two guys you didn't even have on your list, actually.
Who?
Number one, David Montgomery.
Is he RB2 though? Like,
I mean, on the list he is. Yeah. I mean, unless you put Jahmyr Gibbs as the RB2, and he's still number one for me.
I guess I should have disclaimed. If I really wasn't sure who was 1 and 2, I just left them off. Like, yeah, Montgomery.
That's fair. I just went off of like the current like official depth charts and just picked the two.
Okay. Yeah.
For everybody, so I put.
I did not leave him off because
you said like you said Charbonnet 1, and I was like, over Montgomery? Yeah. You monster. I thought we were getting canceled for a second, but if that's the case, that's fair.
Yeah.
2, I put Najee Harris. Same deal. Has proved he can be a productive one, but just a better 2. 3, I do have Rico Dowdle. 4, I put Charbonnet. I love Charbonnet. I just want to see a little bit more volume. But 5, Travion Henderson. 6, I put Jalen Warren. 7, Jordan Mason. 8, Tyler Algier. 9, I have Rashad White, and 10, the Tank Bigsby.
Oh, I left poor Tyler off the list. He's just so boring.
1,000 yards.
He's just so Tyler.
He's so boring.
He's just so boring.
Tyler from BYU, like that's
he
the
does
most boring
nothing
little.
great. Like I also left Rashad White off. Just I don't know. He really like there were times I would see him like have the opportunity to get the edge and he'd just get like tripped. I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
come on.
he does that. But when I play him in fantasy, he is the best receiving running back in the NFL. Like he's running Texas routes. He's running like legit corner routes, catching it one-handed, getting both feet in bounds. Like how? How did he get replaced? This is the best running back in the NFL. And then like if I were to ever pick him up in fantasy for some reason, like he would be a dud because he is most games, but he's proven to be productive. He's proven to be like an asset in the passing game, but he's just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
That's why he's down at 9.
Yeah, I mean, he probably would have been like 11 or 12, depending on where I put him with Algier. But I just had to put Ty. How do you not put Ty Johnson on here? I say like every week, I see Ty Johnson get his like daily carry. And I'm like, this guy's got to be the most successful Bills player in history. I've never seen somebody always get like 4 yards of pop minimum every time.
Yeah. And as a receiver, a blocker, also just like locker room, like they're getting him for like $1 too. Like he could have gone somewhere and like probably competed for some kind of role, but he just like, no, I'm cool. Me, Ray Davis, and James Cook, we're just gonna hang out for another until James Cook leaves, and then it's just me and Ray Davis. But
I hope he doesn't ever leave.
That's not the only time you hear Ty Johnson today.
No, it won't. It's
I have him later as well. Yeah.
I love him because like every week, like I said, he'll have his carry, and then my group chat full of Bills fans will be like, "Oh, there's the Ty Johnson weekly 7.9 yards per rush carry that he always happens to have."
Over Algier. That's poor Algier. No one likes him.
Yeah, I know. He might be the most hated running back. I think we did like one of the earliest episodes we did. I think we talked about Algier and how like if you go on Sleeper or one of the fantasy apps and you can see where everyone's commenting on the most recent plays.
Yeah.
And you see like Algier 1 yard rush, Algier 1 yard rush at the goal line.
They're like
stuffed. And then Bijan goes in and scores. And everyone's like, what the fuck? No shit. Like, obviously, what are you guys doing? And they're like, kill Algier. It's like,
kill him. He seems like such a cool dude too. He's like a small town kid, went to BYU, like humble, like low, like 2-star, 3-star recruit, worked his way up, got 1,000 yards, then got replaced by like a borderline generational prospect. And they're just like, yeah, I hate this guy. This fucking idiot. Like it's so bad. He's not even the 3rd best BYU running back right now.
Yeah, he probably doesn't deserve all that, right?
But no.
That's what the fantasy community does.
I was thinking about BYU running backs. I was like, Jamal Williams. Remember Tyson Williams?
Oh my God. Yeah.
For like a minute.
He had like one good game.
Yeah.
I think.
I remember it. Like, I think on the Ravens, right?
It was, yes.
Yeah. And then where'd he go?
That was during that time, like right before, I think it was the year before Henry got there, or maybe 2, when like they were going through, like Melvin Gordon was there, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Le'Veon Bell showed up for like a day.
Bell was there. Like they were just having anybody suit up and take carries for that team. And I think it was because Williams got hurt or something. Like I feel like he was their guy.
Yeah, Tyson Williams was good before he went AWOL.
And then Keaton Mitchell's still there. He's alive somewhere.
Yeah, he's somewhere. Jesus.
Before Derrick Henry, the Ravens running back situation was as dire as it gets, literally.
Yeah.
Well, next we'll get into overrated and underrated. We'll start with the 5 underrated backs.
Okay.
And this is like, it's hard. Like it's all in the frame. It's all in a certain lens because, like we were saying, like every running back I think is good for something. Like the starting running backs, or at least the guys that get carries, they're good and they're out there for a reason. So it's hard to say one's overrated, one's underrated. But we did our best. My 5 underrated, I'm going to put both Seattle running backs on this list. So I have Ken Walker and Charbonnet on this list. Their offensive line is putrid. Ken Walker, as I did the math before this episode with the help of ChatGPT, he had 153 attempts this year. He forced 61 missed tackles. That's like insane in the context of everyone else. That's crazy. The most missed tackles this season per PFF was Derrick Henry at 81. He had 325 attempts. So the fact that Ken Walker comes in 8th on this list with like under half of the amount of attempts is like ridiculous. So Ken Walker for me is up here, and kind of the same thing for Charbonnet, how much I was talking about him. So both of them probably will never get the amount of respect they deserve until Ken Walker gets traded eventually because they drafted Damian Martinez and Charbonnet.
Please. I love Martinez, but like, dude, they're never going to use him. So sadly,
I know. Like, what was the point? What was the point of that?
I don't know.
But so those two guys, 1 and 2, in no particular order. 3, I do have my boy Chuba Hubbard. No one will ever respect Chuba Hubbard the amount that I respect Chuba Hubbard. He is easily one of the best between the tackles runners. That was right, in the league. So I like Chuba. I also have Jordan Mason on this list. I've become a big Jordan Mason fan throughout this process as well. And James Conner, too.
Yeah.
People just think of James Conner being just an old dirtbag that like was good on the Steelers, and now he's just like a journeyman for the Cardinals. Even though he was one of the best running backs in football. He's been for the last couple of years now.
In terms of like actual like pound for pound running back skill, he's like top 3. It's just like the athleticism has left him like 5 years ago, but like the size, the contact balance, like the dude gets skinny. Like he can get through any hole. Good vision, good receiver, good block. I almost put him for best pass pro. Like he's up there too. But yeah, like he's easily like him and Josh Jacobs, like pound for pound running back skill are like top 2.
Yeah, I mean he really, and like as a receiver too. I think he had like 350, 400 yards as a receiver this year.
Yeah.
He had 400 receiving yards this year on 47 receptions. Like he was like the Cardinals offense this season. He really was. The amount they leaned on him. Like without Conner, they would have been worse than they were, which I guess wouldn't have been saying much because they weren't great. But he kept them afloat, and that was the same case the year before. So James Conner, people got to watch a little bit more James Conner. I had him in fantasy, and I drafted him, and everyone's like, "You're crazy." I said, "Just wait."
Yeah, good players. Get good players. It doesn't matter how old they are. It's not dynasty.
Exactly.
He is 30, which is like the time, especially how many carries he's gotten for like a regression, but he's still good. He's still a quality back. I'd take him. But that's a good list. I only have like 2 borderline players that even get playing time on my list, but one of them is Charbonnet. I have Charbonnet, good runner, elite blocker. I was going to have a whole tangent on that, so I'm glad you did. Rico Dowdle's on my list. 1,000 yards. No one cared. Literally no one cared. They're just like, Dallas sucks. Everyone there sucks. Dak sucks. CeeDee Lamb sucks. Micah Parsons sucks. And then Rico, who's like humble and doesn't say anything, just gets thrown into that. But he had 1,000 yards and was like the only player on offense that was trying half the time. So Ty Johnson does see my list. Underrated. People think of Ray Davis as like the RB2 in Buffalo, but while I do love Ray Davis also, Ty Johnson deserves some flowers. I don't know where he got mixed up in the whole draft process, but I'm glad Buffalo found him at least. I have Isaiah Davis from the Jets, the second best running back on the Jets. I know those Braylon Allen lovers love him, but Isaiah Davis is just more complete. He's a better player. And then my favorite player in the NFL, Sean Tucker. I love Sean Tucker.
Come on.
He is pleased with his performance. I love Sean Tucker.
His 2 weeks of relevance until he got
his 3 years of college that I watched all of it.
God.
And his Twitter.
What's on his Twitter?
Every time that he would play in college, he would tweet whether or not he was pleased with his performance. So if he ran for like over 100 yards, a couple touchdowns, he'd say like, I was pleased with my performance.
And so kind of like what Trey Palmer does when he wakes up. He's like, I woke up pissed off. Did you see that? Anytime he's tweeted, I wake up pissed off, he goes off. And he did that a couple of times this year for Tampa, and they're on the same team.
Like Sean Tucker gets like, he was so good in college. He kind of got buried. And then he gets playing time and just goes crazy a few different times. He's so like if he gets to be like a true RB2 sometime, he'd be so much fun. He's so much fun. So
I did not expect a Sean Tucker mention. I didn't realize how deep we were getting. I probably should have dug.
Anyone that knows me knows we're getting. He's only 23 too. Like he has plenty of time to break out. Yeah. Wow. He just looks old as shit, but he's actually like he's actually not. How many like he is? Yeah, what? Yeah, a measly 6.2 yards per carry last year. I'll take it.
On how many carries?
50.
Okay, honestly, I thought he was gonna say like 38. Like, so that was more than I thought. He had like
308 rushing yards. Like that's respectable for an RB3.
Okay.
He like demolished the Saints by himself that one time.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Like single-handedly. Like let's catch a screen, mow everyone over. God, he's so good. Let him play.
To be fair, that was also the one team that Javonte Williams had a good game against too.
Now let the boys play. 6.2 yards a carry. Javonte Williams didn't have that. Javonte Williams had like 2.
All right. Overrated. This is.
I hate this.
Yeah. Like it's tough. I don't know.
I can give my rationale to who I picked as overrated.
Yeah.
I think people view running backs in like fantasy terms, which is why people thought Austin Eckler was like a top 5 running back in the NFL for a while. He never was. But people know fantasy and they know he scores a lot of points. But these are guys that I think are valued more in fantasy than they should be as like actual running backs. But all 5 guys I picked are talented players. Like these aren't overrated guys at all, but just like overrated by like the public, I guess.
Yeah, I think mine probably fit the same sentiment because ultimately that's how a lot of football players become, lifted into conversations they shouldn't be in, or maybe pushed down and not really talked about enough. So,
yeah,
who are your 5?
So I go. It's so controversial, but it doesn't have to be Devon Achane. It's so controversial, like, and it's only because when Tua went down, how horrific he was. Like he literally didn't have a good game, not even a mediocre game. They were all terrible, and then he comes back and he's all of a sudden an elite running back again. It's just like he needs a lot of stuff to happen for him to play well. DeAndre Swift will be on this list for me every single year that he plays football. People just still love him. They love him, but I'm just not quite there. I think Kamara is there to a degree. I think a lot of people put him in conversation still that he just doesn't belong in anymore. I do have Isaiah Pacheco on here, actually. I think some people view him like kind of close to a top 10 running back, but I don't think he should be anywhere near that.
Oh, like hell no.
No, but I've seen people say it, and that's why he has to be here. Oh, and then another player I like, but Breece Hall. Breece Hall gets entered into some top 5, near top 5 conversations because of a few really good games he had, and he is a great running back in his own way. But just I think he's entering conversations he doesn't belong in. Is the only problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I agree. The Kamara one, I feel like Kamara does still get held up by his name a little bit, but at the same time, like he was so good those first 3 games, just as like everyone was for the Saints. It just like reminds you of how good he still is. And
I know
that guy was getting pounded.
He was getting, like they were just running him into the ground. I had him in fantasy too.
Yeah.
And I was really happy for like 4 weeks. That's also part of like being a running back to me is like being able to handle a lot of volume. Like his style of play is so odd, and it just like slowly, clearly diminished. Like there were some games where he like couldn't get past the line because he doesn't have like that extra gear of explosiveness. He plays his game, and if his game doesn't work, then it's ball game.
Yeah.
And like that's just not a style that I like.
Yeah, that's fair. It is tough for a guy like that to kind of push his way through that type of physicality. Like, and I mean, that's just the nature of, the style of running back he is. Yeah. And that can almost be said for if McCaffrey was in a different situation. I'm sure he would, he struggled with those same kinds of things too. So
that's like 2025 Kamara. Sorry. Like,
yeah,
Yeah, not to say that like prime Kamara couldn't do any of this. Like,
Right.
4 years ago maybe, but just today, like as I saw him diminish slowly throughout the year, I just little overrated.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just a ween.
My 5, I
Mm.
I developed campaigns for a little bit.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mentioned pre-show. So my first one, yeah, here we go. I'm gonna have a red dot on my head for the next like 3 weeks for this one. I do have Kyron Williams on here.
Oh,
Like,
you boo!
what does Kyron do well? He's good at a lot, but not great at really anything. Like,
That's really all you gotta
you
be.
said it yourself, he's slow. Like, he doesn't have many, like, he doesn't really break through the offensive line and have a chance to take it the distance. He is physical, but he's not, going to really churn his way for an extra 7 yards. He'll fall forward, but he's not a threat in the receive. Like, there's no receiving profile with this guy, like, really at all. Like, what is it with him? He had 1,300 yards, yeah, and
Yeah,
300
oh.
fucking 25 carries. Yeah, a lot of guys did that. So
I think it's like the durability, the consistency, the vision, the contact balance, the patience. Like he just has a running back's brain. And like he was unfortunately put into like a bobsledder's body, but the dude can just play football. And so like every once in a while when you're scouting, you're like, this guy runs like a 4.6. Like he won't be anything. And then like apparently he's just good at football. And this is really all it is. And like, I don't know. I think he's just so solid at everything. And that's what makes him a good running back.
yeah, I think like he's solid, but is he like solid enough to be considered one of the best in the league?
I'd say he's one of the better. Not the best, but he's one of the better.
Like for me, I like he's not in my top 10. Like a lot of guys in my top 10, they do a lot of things well, but they have one thing that definitively puts them there that they have that really dominates games. Like, does Kyron scores a lot of touchdowns? Does he really dominate games? I don't.
He doesn't dominate, but he does. He never gets dominated. Like he's never out of a game. Like you'll never see him get H-hand where he goes like 20 carries for 20 yards and just like just kind of gives up and is hanging his head. Like he will get his 20 carries for 100 yards. He does it every game because he just finds a way.
Yeah, I guess. Still overrated. Next, I have Aaron Jones. I've come to find out that he's still good. Like he had a great year, but
yeah.
I don't think he's another guy that doesn't really do too much well at this point of his career. He's an above average receiver still, so I'll give him credit for that. But otherwise, I would not be shocked once. I will say once. It won't be an if. It'll be when Jordan Mason eventually becomes the RB1 this year.
I agree.
So like that will be just a matter of time. Not even because Aaron Jones is just going to like get a hangnail and miss 4 games, but Jordan Mason will just eventually outpace. He's just more talented, and that I found out was a hot take the other day. Actually,
I mean, like if this is like 3-4 years ago, like I would call you insane. But current day Aaron Jones is just not a premium starting running back in the NFL anymore. He once was awesome, but just not today, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like it's giving me like, oh, what's the word? What's that word where you're having like flashbacks? You feel like you're reliving something.
PTSD.
No. Oh my God. Like,
Deja vu.
Deja vu. Thank you. I feel like I'm having deja vu with this because the other day I had made a video saying that Jordan Mason is better than Aaron Jones, and I had people calling me crazy. And it was the same type of thing a couple of years back when Dalvin Cook was on the edge of the cliff, ready to get pushed off. And I remember saying vividly that Raheem Mostert was better than him at that time, and I got attacked for that. So it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, Jordan Mason is going to do that to Aaron Jones now. So still a top 32 back for me.
Yeah.
But he's just not what he was.
No.
This one is going to contradict my hat, but I also have James Cook on here. He's fast, and I saw him make one play in his career that I was like, holy shit, that was the most physical play I've ever seen from James Cook, and it was in that AFC Championship game when he somehow kept his feet kept his knees off the ground and reached for the goal line. That was remarkable. He's done a lot of great things for the Bills, but I think there are a lot of good running backs that could easily slide into the Bill situation and do what he's doing. Like he scored 18 touchdowns. A lot of guys could have done that. He very easily could have 6 touchdowns next year. That's just how it goes. Like I would argue Ty Johnson on that type of workload would probably like put up decent enough numbers to make you think he was a top fucking 10 back too. So yeah, sorry, James Cook.
Yeah, I mean, also for the money that he wants.
Oh my god,
get him out of here. Get him out.
Like, are you out of here?
Ray Davis can handle a workload, and Ty Johnson can handle all the James Cook kind of like specialty work. He's a better receiver too than James Cook is. So
yeah, James Cook fucking can't catch.
Trade his ass. I bet somebody's gonna get hurt. Like some high profile running back will get hurt week 2, week 3, week 4. Just trade James Cook for him. Get some stuff for him. Like they'll be fine. He's kind of a product of Josh Allen, in my opinion.
Yeah,
where, like you're facing light boxes and like everyone's terrified of Josh Allen running. No one's that scared of James Cook running. Like he's second priority, even as a runner to Josh Allen. So,
100%.
I agree.
So yeah, I think so too. There was one other thing I wanted to say about him.
Can't catch.
Can't catch. That's one thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't even, and I don't know how many people even know this, but the guy doesn't even play on average over 50% of snaps in a football game for the Bills, which is just insane considering like the production he had was pretty good given that metric. But the fact that this guy is not even on the field that much for Buffalo goes to show like, there are other guys in this mix that are serving purposes that maybe James Cook can't. And that's telling. I have a guy that's a free agent on here, and that also might be contradictory, but I have J.K. Dobbins on here. Like, he is a guy that I'm happy to see revived his career a bit, but talk about, I think, scheme-dependent type of production. And I think that's why, and given the knee injury too, like, there's a reason he's not on a football team right now. So, and people are probably like, why is J.K. Dobbins still a free agent? Like, where's J.K. Dobbins? And I'm sure if you asked people to list their top 32 running backs, J.K. Dobbins would be on it. Well, he's not on fucking my list. So
I don't think he made mine, but that might also be because I was looking at like healthy players to make this list. He probably would be on it if I look. I would take him probably over like Tyrone Tracy, but like, I don't know. It's just the fact, like, it's the availability. That's half of being a running back, and he's just never available. So therefore, he's never productive, and I need production. So I do agree. He entered some weird conversations last year that he just didn't belong in, and that was a problem.
Yeah, 100%. And my last, number 5, I don't feel as strongly about this one as I used to, but I still think it applies for fantasy reasons, actually. Joe Mixon. I think, Joe Mixon had a tremendous season last year, production-wise. I think a lot better than I would have thought he would have had, quite frankly. But I still don't think he's a top 15 back. What did I have him? Like right outside the top 15, I had him. So he's still good, but I think people would be like, oh my God, he had like 14 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. He's fringe top 10.
No, maybe in 2020, yeah, but he's not the same back he used to be.
No.
Like at one point, Bill Belichick called him the best running back in the NFL, but that was when Bill Belichick was still the head coach of the Patriots. So it's been a long time.
Holy shit, I didn't even know that. Bill Belichick might have been smoking something to say that. I don't know if I agree with that ever. Was there ever a time where that could have been the case? Like, what kind of game could Joe Mixon possibly have had?
He destroyed them.
Did he?
He had like one of those like Le'Veon Bell like vision games where like he was just like untouchable. It was actually ridiculous. But yeah, that's not anymore. He's not that back anymore.
Do you remember speaking of Le'Veon Bell? Whenever I think of him, I of course think of how he has gone off the deep end since his NFL career ended. But I've also thought about how that clip of him against, I think it was the Bears, where the one like defensive end was mic'd up and he made him miss. And he goes, he was. Do you remember who that was?
No, I don't think it was anybody that good. Hold on.
I think everyone knows that clip though. Like, we probably don't need a name. We don't need to reference it.
Oh, it was Malik Jackson. That's actually so funny. He actually wasn't
Oh.
bad. He actually wasn't even bad either.
It's hilarious. That's probably like a top 10 funniest NFL mic'd up moment.
Yeah, because he's like talking crazy shit before he's like, I'm gonna mess you up, boy, and then he's just like, ooh.
It's kind of like Carl Anthony Towns is the way he sounded. It's like,
oh my god! Every time he drives to the rim.
The TikTok edits of Carl Anthony Towns being fruity are just so fucking funny.
I know.
All right, what category do you want to go into next? We have a couple.
I think let's go to a happy one. Let's go breakout candidates. Seems fun.
Okay. Who are your 5 then?
So this is where I shoot in Kenneth Walker. I think when you look at the Seahawks, you look at like the way that they've formed their new offense. Like they're a wide zone scheme. And that's why they got Gray Zabel. That's why they brought in Clint Kubiak. That's why they brought in Cooper Kupp and didn't really worry about downfield passing. Like we're running this football, and I think Kenneth Walker is going to be a pretty big beneficiary of that. My boy Roshan Johnson. I think that Ben Johnson likes guys that are good at running the football. And DeAndre Swift sometimes is terrible at running the football. He can't pound the rock. And that's what Ben Johnson likes to do. He can take volume, Roshan Johnson can, and he can push piles. So I think he gets more carries than last year. You always got to throw Jalen Warren on here just because he has the chance to start. I don't think he does. I think Caleb Johnson starts, but it's pretty hard to find somebody that has a chance like that. I did put Jalen Wright from the Dolphins on here. He didn't really get used much last year, but it's just like how bad they struggled to run when Tua was out. I think they need somebody with a little bit more power than Achane. And I think that Jalen Wright can bring that. And then Trey Benson, because James Conner's been a little bit too healthy recently compared to how he used to be. Like James Conner at once was undraftable because he was hurt every year. And like the last 3 years, he hasn't been hurt at all. I think this is Trey Benson's turn. They got him like the early 3rd, maybe. Like they put some investment in him. So I think if James Conner goes down, Trey Benson's a workhorse.
Yeah, I like that a lot. There were similar names here that I also had, like, and this is kind of the part of where I feel like I'll be repeating some names more than I want to, but I agree with a few of them. They actually made some of my list as well. Jalen Wright and Trey Benson, 2 particular. I think for Jalen Wright specifically, he would have been getting the touches that Mostert got if Mostert wasn't there. It just happened that, I think they felt probably some sort of loyalty to him in some capacity. Like at that point in his career, like he's borderline barely on the Raiders now. So
yeah, and he had like 20 touchdowns like the year before that.
Right, exactly.
Stat wise, you kind of have to let him play. Hope he does it again, but
right. So I think Jalen Wright will now kind of be playing that, of course, that complementary role to Achane, which I think will give him an opportunity to get his name out there because probably not many people even know Jalen Wright exists, to be honest. Same thing with Trey Benson too. And there was a lot of hype about Trey Benson when he first got drafted last year. And like, I think people projected him to have a bigger role than he ended up having. And he ended up being like invisible. Like he had a couple of games where he had like 10 plus carries, but I think there was probably 2 games. Other than that, he got like 2 or 3 carries a game. Even like Amari Dermercado was like
Dermercado, yeah, he was better.
Touches. Yeah. But I don't think he was bad last year. I think his role was just a lot smaller than at least I personally thought it was going to be. But for the same reason, James Conner's he's going to roll over at some point. Like
he just turned 30. Like it has to happen soon.
So as much as I don't want it to happen,
he's actually like one of my favorite running backs in the NFL. I don't want him to, but he's been a little too healthy recently.
Yeah, I mean, and the Cardinals run the ball more than anybody. So even if Connor still manages to be healthy that long, there's no way they run him into the ground the same way. So they got to get someone else involved. I have Tank Bigsby on here. It feels like Travis Etienne's job has been hanging on by a thread for like the last year or so. And as much as it feels like Liam Cohen could potentially come in and change the future for him in Jacksonville, it also could be the Rachaad White, Bucky Irving transition all over again. So
Yeah.
not that Tank is Bucky per se, but in that way where Liam Cohen's like, let's get the other good player in here, even though for some reason here's the starter that's been being forced on the field week after week when you have the better player right behind him. And yeah, he is an unrestricted free agent after this year. I don't even know if ETN makes it through this season.
He shouldn't. He should get traded to somebody that will give him like a restart.
Yeah.
I feel like it could be Tutton too. I kept him off my list for some reason, but like I feel like he could also absolutely shoe into that Bucky role. Because he's been getting some good reps in camp and he looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought about that. The only reason I feel like he'll be pushed down is because he's the third on the depth chart. But if ETN, if there is a moment where he's gone, like the Bigsby Tutton combo will be a 1-2 punch. It's hard to handle. It's
actually nasty. Yeah, that would actually be really good.
So goodbye, Travis Etienne. Where would he end up though? That's the thing. No one needs a fucking running back. So where do you go?
Where does he go? But then they do because everyone gets hurt all the time. So it's like if Pacheco goes down again, Kansas City doesn't want to have to run Carson Steele out there to start games again. Like you want to have a guy that can prove he can, handle 25 carries and be all right. So really like any team that gets a guy hurt should just call up the Jags immediately. Because, I mean, like, when was the last time that, like, all 32 teams had healthy running backs going into, like, week 4? Like somebody always bites it early or in camp. Yeah. And that's where ETN slithers in. Gets a starting role and gets paid.
It's going to be Dallas.
It definitely could. They actually still should trade for him. He'd be their best running back today still.
That's so bad, man. Oh, my God.
Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue are your, like, starters.
Does Miles Sanders even make the team? Like, why is he even there? Why is he there?
Is Deuce Vaughn even still there? Deuce Vaughn is like 3 feet tall and might make the roster over him.
Deuce Vaughn is listed as the 5th running back on the depth chart. Phil Maffa.
Phil Maffa he could start low key. Phil Maffa. There is a universe. Well, they're all terrible. It's not like there's some good running back taking his spot. Like,
that's true.
He probably could handle the most carries of anybody on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He did in college. That dude was a workhorse.
It's true.
Yeah. My boy Hunter Lupke or whatever his name is to get some carries this year.
A fullback. Isn't he a fullback?
Yes. My North Dakota State alum. Love that guy.
Who didn't I name? I think my last guy that I didn't name was Zach Charbonnet. And I'm gonna forcibly push the Ken Walker traded narrative too, because I just can't understand why they drafted Damian Martinez. I still don't get it.
Trade one of them. Like they're both good. Like whichever one you feel like trading, trade them. Like don't keep them both.
Right.
And Martinez and McIntosh.
Oh my God, I forgot that they even had him.
And the best running back on the roster, George Holani.
How do you fucking know this guy's on?
Because George Holani was the guy that kept Ashton Genty from starting 2 years ago. George Holani was getting those reps. That's why Ashton Genty just blew up. George Holani is a nice running back.
Oh, that's why. That's why he just blew up. So you're telling me George Holani's not better than Ashton Genty?
George Holani is better than Ashton Genty. He would start on most NFL teams. Not actually, but he is good.
Yeah, so that's my 5. Bigsby, Spears. Oh, did I say Tajay Spears?
You did not, but I agree.
Oh, yeah, Tajay Spears. I guess I didn't say all 5. I also have him on my breakout list. I think Pollard, another guy that will probably miss time this year, kind of definitely on the downward trajectory for his career. And when Spears stepped in last season, when he had to, he looked pretty damn good. So,
dude, Spears is so solid when he gets to play. Like Tulane versus USC and like the bowl game where he ran for like 200 yards, just dominated Caleb Williams single-handedly. Like he's a beast. Just let him play.
He is doing to Tony Pollard what Tony Pollard did to Zeke. So.
Yes, as Tony Pollard reaches, 28 years old, he's had a lot of mileage. He's starting to wear down a little bit. Tajay Spears can just come slithering in with no ACLs on his legs and just...
But he really doesn't have it. No, I think
he plays like he doesn't have ACLs.
Oh, okay. I think didn't you tell me there was a running back or something that like literally didn't have a knee? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like there was it must have been in the draft process or something like that. That rings a bell.
I don't know.
All right. Well, come with breakout candidates. There are 5 regression candidates as well. And this is kind of, once again, similar names going to be coming up. Unfortunately, as it just seems like there are so many running backs, but somehow the same keep getting mentioned. I don't know. Like there was just more parity with the receivers, I guess, the more that I realized it. But oh well. My 5 running backs that I think are due for regression. Of course, Aaron Jones, for reasons I've mentioned before. He had a great season. I would be extremely shocked if he replicated it, if he was even healthy for as many games as he was last year. I don't think he missed a game, so which is pretty shocking. James Conner is also on my list for reasons that we just spoke about. I also have Brian Robinson on this list. Like he's been like surprisingly serviceable for these last couple seasons, but he's just one of those guys that I don't know. I don't want to say he's not good, but I think he's really just on the field because there's no competition in that backfield. And I guess they don't bring anybody in, so they still have confidence in him. They drafted Ja'Cory
Krosky Merritt.
Yeah.
And Arizona. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, and I've heard that he, if there's anybody to threaten his job, it could be him. But he's advertised as this power back that I really don't think is very good at what is supposed to be a specialty. I don't really see him churning out yards the way that I feel like he should. He's not like the fastest guy ever. He's like effective in the receiving game.
Yeah.
For some reason, but I think it's more just because he gets so many dump offs. I don't know. I think he's due for a year where it's like, okay, there's, Brian Robinson's time is probably coming to a close here in Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he hasn't been signed, so it's not really fair, but I did have J.K. Dobbins on here too. Like, it's kind of hard to regress if you're not playing.
I mean, you definitely regress. Yeah, it's pretty the easiest way, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, I think he also makes this list, and it hurts my heart because I do like him and I want him to work out, but I do have Breece Hall on here. Like, he kind of already did regress, but I think this is the year where, especially with Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields, they're going to be running the ball with everybody they have on the roster. Like, he's not just going to be the primary back, I don't think. So, this could be his worst statistical year to date. It already wasn't great last year, and I think just the direction they're heading, he's due for he's definitely due to just continue to decline, unfortunately. I think people just have that clip of him bursting down the sideline against the Broncos ingrained in their head, and they just forget about everything else. Like,
I know. Breece Hall is like, he's one where I'm like, he absolutely could, but he also could blow up. Like, if the Jets just created like a rushing offense out of Fields and him and like worked their offensive line into like a rushing offense, like I could see a situation, but he did not look good last year at all. It wasn't even like the production that I care about. Like, he didn't look good on tape, but he is 23. So I do give some benefit of the doubt there, but I didn't love what I saw, really.
I will say his 4th round, roughly, maybe even 5th ADP in fantasy. Hey, sign me up for that. Yeah. Sign me up for that.
Until he gets replaced by Isaiah Davis, then that would be bad. But
yeah,
that's going to happen.
No, he won't ever get replaced. It'll just be an annoying rotation that will just piss everyone off. And Justin Fields will take the touchdowns on the goal line with read option or some shit. And
I know.
Crash out. Like,
people are going to tell me Braylon Allen's better. Braylon Allen's not better than Nick Bawden. I don't want to hear it. He actually is. But he is. But Isaiah Davis deserves those reps.
Yeah.
But those are good candidates. I have one of those guys, and that's sadly Aaron Jones. With Jordan Mason and just, father time, I just don't see a situation where Aaron Jones is elite. It's just the volume. I don't see a way he can take that volume.
Mm-hmm.
I have Joe Mixon here. He's just been getting beaten up. Like, he has been so reliable, and part of that is just taking a lot of carries every single year of his career, and that's catching up. I think that he started off hot last year, but what happens to old running backs is they get just destroyed over the course of a year, and they look bad. So the more he gets hit, the worse he's going to look. I do have Jonathan Taylor here, which is a weird one, but the amount that they invested into his depth is concerning. Because before, I think that he was partially so good because they had literally no one else.
Yeah.
and he got every touch. But they drafted DJ Giddens, and they brought in Khalil Herbert, which is like two moves they never have done before. And I think Giddens is good enough to eat into a little bit of his role. So I think just production-wise, we're not going to see another 1,500-yard rushing season out of Jonathan Taylor. I put one you might like, and that's Tyrone Tracy, because I do think Cam Scatabo is gonna eat into that a lot. I like Tyrone Tracy. I still think he's good. I see a world where he is still the starter better than Scatabo, but he's got a lot of work to do still. And he was partially so good because he got so many touches. But your boy's he's gonna take over.
Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I'm so pro Scatterball. I'm so excited.
You have to say that every time he runs, though. Like, hell yeah! Like, every time he touches the ball, like I need Alice in Chains playing every time he touches the ball. I don't want like a single rap edit to him.
I know, right?
He doesn't like rap. He only likes Eminem. Like we are running the piss out of the ball. We're playing Pantera, Metallica. It's gonna be sweet. But then,
oh man.
Yeah, unfortunately, his brother CMC, it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good at all. I love CMC. I've had him like every year in fantasy, like ever. I somehow always get it, and people think that I'm cheating. I'm not, because I'm the commissioner. They think I'm cheating, but it's literally random. It's as random as they can get. I just keep getting CMC, but it sounds really bad. Like he was finally able to see the field. He didn't quite look himself, and then he went down again, and that's really scary to see, especially at his age and how often he's been used throughout his career. They drafted a running back this year in Jordan James, which I mean, it's not scary, but it means they want another running back on their team. So I just don't love it. I'm a little scared for CMC.
Yeah, it sucks. Like he's like one of the best running backs of the 2000s, and it's just his career is slowly kind of fizzling away.
Yeah.
He's not even that old. Like
no, he's just been playing for a while.
Yeah, he has. Like he's literally, and it'll always blow my mind how old Todd Gurley is. Like he's only like 28 or 29.
Yeah, it's the same age as CMC. He'll be 29 when he starts next year or this year.
And if this really turns out to be one of CMC's last years, and like we just look at guys like James Conner and Aaron Jones who are still getting 230 plus carries. I think Conner had 236. Aaron Jones he was up there too, I think, over
a lot of touches because of his receiving work.
Oh my God, he had 255 attempts alone.
Why?
I don't know.
He looks good, but like
51 targets. He had over 300 touches.
And he's 30. He'll be 31 halfway through the year in December. So
holy shit.
Tricky. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know how often you want a 31-year-old touching the ball.
Yeah. No.
300 times? Not again. Like that's why they brought in Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason has had 1 year of production. He can handle it.
Well, I guess that's kind of why I'm slightly more bullish on McCaffrey. It's like, why would you let a guy that was as good as Jordan Mason was walk for? And how much did he even get in Minnesota? They traded him. They traded him, and then I assume they extended him, right? Because I think he was due for an extension?
I think he was just a free agent. Well, he was a free agent. I don't know if he was a restricted free agent or not. I think he was. I think he was a restricted free agent. So he was owed like $5 million, maybe.
I think that sounds about right. It was about $5 million. I think you were right. Yeah.
I guess they just didn't want to pay that for a backup, so they just were like, okay, we'll trade him and make the Vikings take that. But they do have Garendo, who did show some fun flashes, and they got Jordan James, who actually plays a ton like Jordan Mason. So that will be like a good trio. But you can't predict injuries. But
no.
He was out the entire year last year because it wouldn't heal. And a lot of people have talked about like Achilles tendonitis, and it just keeps coming back when you run that hard. So I'm a little worried about it.
Yeah, it sucks because, and then the 49ers will be back to their endless rotation of running backs. They were kind of in running back held the same way the Ravens were before they got Henry.
Yeah,
like
they were all just good. Yeah, like Matt Breida would turn into like Jesus Christ every time he touched the ball. Like Raheem Mostert was the best running back I've ever seen against the Packers in the NFC Championship. Best ever.
Isn't that where
And
McKinnon was to start? That's the second McKinnon
he
mentioned in 2
played
weeks.
there. I
Yeah.
know. He played for Minnesota and like didn't do much. I think he popped off there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think the last couple things that I wanted to touch on, I have a couple start bench cuts we can do. I
Okay.
can throw at you.
Damn it! I
And
hate this. Is so brutal.
I'm interested to see where you go with some of these.
Yeah.
So we'll start with this one. These are 3 names that I think you're going to struggle with, which is the point. So
That is the point. I like to be miserable. Let's do it.
all right. So we'll start with start bench cut Chuba Hubbard, James Cook, and Chase Brown.
I'll probably start Chuba, to be honest. Like, just the volume. He can handle more volume. I'd probably trade James Cook because I can get the most out of him. And then I'll bench.
Start bench cut.
Oh, I thought you said trade. Start bench cut. I'm benching. I'm still gonna take James Cook over Chase Brown.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, I like
Bengals
them both.
would.
I like them both, but just James Cook's just been more productive.
Fair
But I might actually just cut James Cook because I don't want him tweeting if I'm not getting him the ball enough or not paying him. So I might just take Chase Brown for that reason only. I can't have that locker room presence.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Chase Brown's Canadian.
Is he really? Why did I not know that?
Yeah.
So was Chase Claypool. How many Canadian
I hate
Chases
that.
are in the league? Yeah, I think everyone hates Chase Claypool.
Luke Dort's Canadian. That's what matters.
Yes, he is. A Humanor, right? A Humanor.
Yeah.
I think Chase Claypool and Kenny Galladay are probably the 2 most hated players of this generation. I can't think of and like Juju for a short time when he was making a bunch of TikToks.
Yeah. The Bengals almost signed Kenny Galladay. That was insane. We like had him and then we got outbid by the Giants. And I was like, well, that's great. Thanks. We got Jamar out of that, so that's fine.
Wow. That's a crazy sequence. All right, next start bench cut. Alvin Kamara,
Okay.
Breece Hall, and Joe Mixon.
Damn. I mean, shit. It's kind of crazy. I'm starting Joe Mixon. Wow. He's the only one that can handle that workload and like actually like breach 1,000. Actually, he's the only one there that has ran for over 1,000 yards. Breece Hall and Alvin Kamara have never ran for that much.
Kamara's never had 1,000 yards ever.
I don't believe he has. I'm gonna look it up so I don't sound stupid, but
really,
I think it's all his receiving stuff. Yeah, I think like his highlights have just been like, no, he's never.
Wow,
never has. Even this year, he ran for 950. Wow, yeah, but I'm taking Joe Mixon for that reason only. Like, I like to run the ball. I need a guy that can like consistently move the ball and breach 1,000 yards. But that's today. I am going to take. I might even take Breece Hall over Kamara at this point. But I love Kamara. He's just such a very specific role that he has to be used in. And that's not the way I'm running my offense. We're pounding the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Kamara could be a start if I'm a pass-heavy offense, but I like running the ball.
Kamara's the kind of guy that you hear people say, like, oh, he's like Alvin Kamara. And you're like, well, that's kind of really hard to be like, number one. And number two, that's probably also not a good thing because, like you said, it's very specific, the type of player. Like, there really has never been an Alvin Kamara.
No, he's the most unique running back I've ever seen, like in terms of like how individual his skill set is. But yeah, 5 years ago, he's easily my start. But I watched a lot of Kamara last year. He was elite to start the year, and then everything else after that was just like volume and receptions for PPR purposes. Like he was not moving.
Yeah, he is a PPR monster. The guy will have like 29 yards rushing and just like lead the team in receiving. It's like,
yes.
Fuck.
But it's on like 8 catches for like 59 yards. Like, that's not moving me. It's just he just happens to catch a check down. They get blasted from behind.
I think he had over 100 yards receiving a couple times.
He did.
That's actually dumb. All right, we'll do one more. Start, bench, cut, Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, and Ashton Genty.
My God. I feel like we said Bucky first. I'm still starting Josh Jacobs. He's so good. People sleep on Josh Jacobs so hard. But I am taking Genty over Bucky. on like pure volume upside. But I mean, if this is going forward, I'll take Genty over Jacobs just off of age. But tomorrow, today, yesterday, I'm taking Jacobs.
And then you're benching
Bucky Irving.
Bucky. Okay.
As much as I love Bucky, I absolutely love. He's I think I had him top 10, but I also had Ashton Genty and Josh Jacobs just a little higher in my top 10.
And you're cutting Genty then?
Oh no, I meant to bench Genty and cut Bucky.
I was gonna say, are you Mr. Genty over here is gonna cut him?
No, I'm taking Josh Jacobs. I am starting Josh Jacobs, benching Ashton Genty, and I am cutting Bucky Irving.
All right, I think I'm
sadly.
Yeah, sadly, I might have to cut Genty. Not sorry.
It's crazy.
Well, speaking of top
be sorry.
10,
you'll be sorry.
Yeah, fine. Let me be sorry when the time comes. Right now, I'm unapologetic. Let's run through our top 15 backs, and then we'll call it. I think that's a good number. And then after that, like people really don't care. Like after that, and it's also a crapshoot.
Yeah.
After that, so my top 5. I'll go through my top 5 to 15. So at number 1, I have Saquon. I think that should be undisputed at this point. 2, Derrick Henry. 3, Bijan Robinson. 4, Jahmyr Gibbs. I do have Bucky Irving at 5.
Oh.
I have Josh Jacobs at 6. I have Devon Achane at 7. I have Jonathan Taylor at 8. Ashton Genty at 9. Ken Walker at 10. Chuba Hubbard at 11. I kept McCaffrey at 12. James Conner 13. Kamara 14. Kyron Williams 15. And that would be it, 15. Right.
Honorable mention. Yeah.
Honorable mention was going to be James Cook 16.
Fair. I went Saquon 1. I had Derrick Henry 2. Bijan 3. Jahmyr Gibbs 4. Josh Jacobs 5. I'm already going Genty 6. This is all projection.
Oh, my God.
We're doing it. I'm going to have McCaffrey 7. Where am I at? Kyron Williams 8. Jonathan Taylor 9. Bucky Irving 10. I have James Cook at 11. Devon Achane 12. I have Ken Walker 13. Joe Mixon 14. Chuba Hubbard 15. With James Conner knocking on the door.
No, James. Come on.
He's on the door.
Oh,
he's on the door.
What were our differences? I think the only guy I kept out that you had in was Joe Mixon, and then you had James Conner out. Was that our only difference?
Yeah. But
no, you didn't have Achane.
I had Achane. I had him 12, I think.
I missed that.
I like Achane. He's just not doing it for me.
Yeah. I think that was really the only difference in terms of players. So
yeah, and they're pretty similar, honestly. You were just a little higher on Bucky Irving. You had McCaffrey dropped, I'm assuming for injury purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're just calling him the 13th best running back, people would attack you. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm used to it. So
the Kyron Williams hater. Add it to the list. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kyron Williams.
God. Yeah, do you know what's similar about both of those guys?
Production.
They both produce decently, but aren't as good as their production would suggest.
There's not elite athletes, as I think they're not winning in sexy ways. They just win all the time.
Do they?
Yeah, all the time.
Whatever. We won't start again. All right, I think that was pretty much all I had to cover.
Yeah. We didn't really have much else. The only other thing we're thinking about was doing best running backs in bad situations. But the only name I even really wanted to get across was Damian Martinez, because they buried that man in Seattle so far. To put context on it, Damian Martinez was a guy that was borderline a top 5 running back in this draft class for me. Falls to the 7th for some God knows reason, and then gets picked by the only team that has 4-5 good depth running backs in Seattle. So kind of sad about that. He might never actually play, which sucks, but is what it is.
Yeah, it was weird. They kind of did that, not to the same degree, because why can't I think of his fucking name? Who'd they draft the safety? Holy shit.
Eamon
Warry, thank you. Kind of like Eamon Warry, like they already had a pretty toolsy, deeper defensive back room, and they go and add Eamon Warry to it. And he will, of course, play. He will see the field more than Martinez will, but two positions that probably didn't need to be added to. Granted, Martinez was a 7th-round pick.
Yeah, you take that. Yeah, but it just sucks.
It's just weird. But yeah, it does suck. Like he probably could have been a Cowboy easily. Like, what are we doing now?
And free Blake Corum, by the way.
Oh yeah,
get him out of there. They drafted him so early, and they literally never stopped running Kyron Williams. There's like, nope, Corum, they are like the same back also, but
yeah. And now he has to compete with Jarquez Hunter. So
yeah, that's sad.
Yeah,
free him. Free Corum. He did nothing wrong.
All right. Well, if you guys have any thoughts, leave them down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share. Feel free to follow, subscribe to us on all of our socials down in the description. Same thing for our individuals, they're down there as well. And we will see you in episode 34.